Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Today we're going to continue our discussion on the different types of data structures. So let's have a brief review. There are several types of data structures, one of which is vector. A vector is supposed to contain the same elements. So whether it's a character data, everything there should be character, or if it's numerical, then everything is numerical. Okay, so that's the characteristic of a vector. On the other hand, a list can contain several types. Okay, so last time I think we did an example of a list. So if you can see here, how do we make a certain object a list? We have to use the list function. Okay, I don't know if did we work on this already, class? Did we have examples of a list?
Sir, I think you uploaded a synchronous video for
Sorry.
list. You
Yeah,
uploaded
okay.
an asynchronous video for list.
Okay. All right. So thank you. All right. So anyway, I'm including here this code. You may wish to copy it if you don't have yet. So here we're creating an object called myVector, and this vector is supposed to contain a list. Okay, a list can also be a vector. So it can be just 1, 2, 3, all numeric, or it can be a combination of numeric and then integer, and then here you have a vector. So a list can also be a vector of character data, etc. This is also a character data and logical data. So that makes a list more, let's say, more flexible compared to a vector. But in our case, we won't be using so much neither list nor vectors. Okay, perhaps more of vectors, but not so much list. But for list, we're going to use it when we generate model outputs, because model outputs can contain several types of values. Okay, it can contain a vector of numbers or etc. So it's important for us to know or understand what a list is. Okay, so you may wish to run this. So let me just quickly run this. So it prints to us this vector. So you can see that this vector contains 6 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The first one, that's one, number 1 here, is it's a numeric vector. Okay, it's just one element. This one also another element. These are all except for number 3. 1 and 2 are numeric. Number 3 is integer. Then we have this this vector of characters, Monday, Tuesday up to Friday, okay, and then another vector of character, and then another vector of logical values. So these are all vectors. Even if they're only one, they're all vectors. Okay, and a list can contain vectors, or it contain also lists. So if I create another vector, for example, this one, here I'm creating a list. Okay, L1 list. Let me just copy this, Control C, and then let me share. I'm using the file that we used in the other section. All right, here I'm creating an object L1, and it's a list. And this list contains a list. This is also a list, right? My vector, as you can see here, is a list. Okay, so a list can contain a list and also a vector of numerics, character, etc. Okay, so if we run this L1, you can see that here L1 it's also a list, and if I view this, okay, here, so it's a list of 4 elements. The first element in this list L1 is also a list. Okay, so it's a list of 6. Then it's a vector of 1, 2, 3. That's double. That's numerical. Then character, and then logical. Okay, so this is a list. Okay, let me pause for a while. Any questions, class? So I hope you understand the difference between a list and a vector. Is it clear, class? Kindly chat, please. Chat yes if everything's clear or you wish for me to repeat the explanation. So don't be ashamed. Please ask questions if you can't understand it. Okay, let's wait for the others to respond. I'm expecting more than 15 responses from you. We're 20, which means you are 19. I'm the 20th. Okay, how about the others, please? Okay, thank you for your responses. Okay, class, make sure that you you ask questions in case you have any. Okay. Sorry for the sunlight. Mamaya, I'm going to ask if you know kung meron sa inyo nakakaalam ng ano. Kasi I'm having problems with my mixer. I use a mixer to connect my microphone. So can you see? Kasi I'm having a problem with the use, no? So baka meron sa inyong gumagamit ng mixer, okay? And then connect your microphone to it, etc. Okay. Sorry for the sunlight kasi nasa against the light yata yung camera. Okay. All right. So sige. Okay. Okay, let me stop video kasi nagbabuffer siya pag ano. Okay, thank you for the feedback. Okay. So my list, let me do this. So my list contains a list of, this is a integer vector, right? 8 to 5. A vector A is an integer vector. Vector B is character. And then you have vector C is a function. So let's run this. So it prints. Okay, so let me, what's that? My list, no? My list. Let's see from the environment. So it's an integer vector, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a character vector, hi there. And it's also a function. We can see what the function is. Okay, si function, okay, may iba't ibang elements din siya, no? Andiyan yung formals, andiyan yung body, at saka yung environment. Okay, so function is another data structure. Ibang klase naman to. Later on, in the course of this subject, we're going to learn more about functions. We're going to generate functions. Suffice it to say that, okay, so can we perform operations with list? Okay, let's see this. Okay, my list contains 3 items, A, B, C. So you have here the the vector of integers, the character, and the logical value. So if we type of, so it's a list. And the length of list is 3. No? Kasi ABC siya, tatlong laman. If I get the first element of my list, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's my list, $A. And then my list, the first one, plus 1, can we do operations here? Okay. So it does not, no? Error in my list. Remember, this is subset, okay? Non-numeric argument to binary operator. Okay, so hindi siya mag-ooperate, no? All right, we will discuss more about this in the course of our subject. But let's now go to, okay, we're not going to discuss this. We have had already examples about this. Yung our norm, no? Okay, we're not going to repeat that. Let's now go to the third type of data structure, which is data frames. So what's a characteristic? What are the characteristics of a data frame? So we discussed this last time. We said that a data frame is a table. It's a two-dimensional array, two-dimensional array-like structure. So it has columns and it has rows. Okay, so these are the characteristics or the requirements for that object to be considered a data frame. Okay, so what are the requirements? Okay, number one, the column should be non-empty. Okay, dapat lahat ng mga columns may laman kahit na NA yung laman, no? Non-empty. The row name should be unique. Okay. The data can be numeric, factor, or character. We know that already. For a data frame, it can contain, just like a list, several types of data, several data types. However, the difference is that a list is not in a tabular or two-dimensional array. Si list, wala siyang row by columns. No? Si data frame, row by columns yung arrangement niya. And then each column should contain the same number of items. Let me annotate na for a while. Okay, so suppose we have this one. We have column 1, column 2, column 3. So we have 3 columns for this data frame. And this is row 1, row 2, row 3, etc. The index, the names of the rows can be the index 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so kahit na numeric index siya 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you should not see here 1, 2, 3, 3. Okay, ibig sabihin na ulit yung row name. Hindi pa pwede yun. Dapat unique yung row names. Okay, and then sabi dito, the data can be numeric or factor or character. And then each column should contain the same number of items. So for example, si Y, let's say tatlo siya, no? Let's say numeric siya 3, 2, 2. Okay, numeric siya. Si Y2, let's say logical lang siya, T. So ito hindi pa pwede to. Okay, kasi si Y2, isa lang yung element niya, while Y1 has 3 elements. And then let's say si Y3, let's say ano siya, yung character, AA, BB. So dalawa lang din siya, no? So here may mga missing values. Okay? So before, strictly speaking, hindi pa pwede to. But now, pwede nang magkaroon ng what we call imputation. No? But that's a different lesson which we're going to learn in the future. Pag sinabi natin imputation, pag may mga missing values, okay, like this one, missing value to. Okay? No value here. Ito wala rin. Ito wala rin. Depende sa nature ng data, depende sa data type, we can do imputation. Okay? Ibig sabihin, we can assign objects here. Okay, we can force R to put values here or here. Huh? Okay, so we'll learn that when we deal with actual data sets. Okay, so let me clear this. So that's what we mean by these attributes. Okay, so let's go here. This is our first example. In case you don't have this, let me share this with you okay, in the chat box. So kindly copy this code chunk. Okay, let's take a look at this. First, you have you have n. Okay, so this is a vector of this is a numerical vector, right? 2, 3, 5. S naman is a character vector. Okay, and then B is a logical vector. Okay, note that each one of them have names. This is N, this is S, this is B. Okay, and then each of them have 3 elements: 2, 3, 5, A, A, B, B, C, C, and then 2, false 2. So we can say that this, if we combine this to form a rectangular array, then this can pass on for a data frame. Okay. All right. So the last line here, we're creating an object called df, and then df. Okay, we're using the function data.frame and then combining n, s, b. So we're creating an object with these columns n, s, and b. this one, and then it will be treated as a data frame. And then we can check what type of data DF is. So if we run this code chunk, okay, so it prints object N, object S, and object B, and then it prints DF. So this is our DF, this is our data frame, the object data frame. This is your column N, this is your S, and this is your B, and then it tells us what type of object this is. This is double, this is character, and this is logical. So we have these 3 columns, and you have 3 observations. Okay, and when you look at the environment window, okay, here's our environment window. You can now find here data. Okay, aside from the lists that we generated a while ago, okay, so you can see here that the list will not go to the values. The list will go here to the data. So we have this data frame, okay, and the difference between, by the way, a list and a data frame is that here, for example, I'm going to click this. It will just give us a quote unquote listing of what's inside your list. But for a data frame, okay, here it will give us a spreadsheet containing the column name. Okay, so this is your rectangular array. These are your row names, row 1, row 2, row 3, and they're all unique. There's no repetition of names for your rows. And then all of these have three elements each. So this is therefore that's therefore a data frame. And we can check if it's a data frame by asking for the class. Let's run this class, df, the object. It's a data frame. Okay, so let me pause for a while and request your feedback if so far okay yung discussion natin on data frame. Kindly chat yes if yes. I hope you were able to run the code. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's wait for a few more of your classmates. Not 100% yet. So it's around 75%. Any more, Flash? Any more feedback? It would be good if I get 19, no? 19 yeses from your end. Okay, so for now, okay na yan, 15. But next time, I hope I get 100% response from the class. Okay, may I ask class if you have this example 2, if I provided you with the code for example 2? Now there's a difference between what I gave you, I think. So let me just go back to the original. Okay. So this is what I gave you. Okay, so do you have this class? I think I gave you that code. This one, could you kindly chat please if, okay, thank you. All right, so I will not anymore send this. Okay, so let's take a look at this. What's being run here? Okay, you can see here again, we already have a clue because this is a data frame. So it means that we are creating here a data frame object, and the name of the data is emp.data or employee.data. Okay, so what are the columns or the variables that we have here? So we have here employee ID, and then we have employee name, and then salary, and then start date. And then we have a function strings at structures is equal to false. This just tells us that any character should not be treated as a factor. Okay, so let's take a look at this first. The run if function. What does the run if function give us? Okay, so let's ask that run if Nawala yung run if. Okay, here. Run if, let's run this. Okay, so we have here done if, fun if, tune if, and run if. Here. We have n minimum is equal to 0, maximum is equal to 1. Of course, this is the default. No? So here we generate random numbers. Ganun din, no? Ganun din siya, random numbers siya, no? And if we don't identify kung ano yung minimum and maximum, it will default to a min 0 and max 1. Now, what's the difference between our norm and this one? Our norm generates a normally distributed normally distributed random numbers, no? Si run if hindi, okay, hindi to normally distributed. Okay? So we can run if and then not identify min is equal to 0 and max is equal to 1. We will still generate random numbers from 0 to 1 because that's the default, no? Even if we don't identify that the mean is 0 and x is equal to 1. Okay, let's take a look at this one. Sa baba, may run examples. Ano? Okay, let's copy this. Control C. And let's see what this will generate. Copy natin siya, Control V. So I copied the example below. U is run if 20. Now notice walang maximum, walang minimum. So we know immediately that this will generate random numbers between 0 and 1, and then 20 observations. So let's run this. Okay, let's print U. Okay. All right, questions? Ano to? Okay, this is my code for salary. Magkaiba ba? Anyway, sige. Anyway, we will do something about the salary code. No? Yeah, I think, saan yun? Ito pala. Okay, pasensya na. Binago kasi namin kanina. Iba yung iba yung original na salary. We will change it. We will change it. Okay, I'll discuss that with you in a moment. Okay, the original one is the one sent by here. Angel, the question is Angel, no? Ang sabi ni Angel, okay, may difference sa salary. Tama, ito yung original, no? Sorry, change kasi namin kanina, so we will deal with that in a while. Okay, so let's go back to our code. So you see here that the run if function will give us a set of random numbers, just like yung natutunan natin yung R norm and what's another one, yung sample, di ba? May differences nga lang sila. Si R norm, ano yan, random number generator for a normally distributed normal distribution. Okay, ito naman, hindi ito normally distributed, no? So, it can generate just random numbers depende kung ano ibibigay niyo na minimum and maximum. So we're going to do in a while, okay? All right, so I hope that's clear. Now, definitely, nung rinan nyo to, magkakaiba tayong answer. Kasi random number generator tong run if eh. Now, so that we have the same set of random numbers, mag-set that seed tayo, no? Okay? So let's put here, set that seed, and maybe just 1, 1, 1, 1, okay? 1, 1, 1, 1, it can be any number, depends on you. All right. Set that seed, and then here we're creating this object called employee data, emp data. And what does it contain? So our employee data contains first, we're going to make it a data frame. So data.frame, and then open parentheses. Here you have employee underscore data, run if 10 from 1,000 up to 999. Okay, now we know that run if will generate decimals. No? This is numeric. So if we try to run this, run natin na, Control C, Control V, run natin, 10 daw. Okay, so you got different answers, no? And it's in decimal place. Numeric talaga siya, no? So, kasi ano to, no? This is ID. So we don't want any ID to appear dun sa decimal place. No? So what we can do is to impose that whatever number is generated here will be rounded off. So let's use the round function, round, open parentheses. So here is our number, right? And then comma, ilang decimal places. We don't want any decimal place, kaya 0 siya. Right, let's check. 1, 2, 1. Okay, close na lahat, no? 2 open parentheses and 2 close parentheses. Okay, so change your code, please. Ganyan ang gawin nyo. Don't run first, no? We'll run this together. Okay, and then we have employee name. So sa employee name, we're just concatenating this vector of character vectors, no? Si Rick, si Dan, etc. Oops, merong lumabas dito na parentheses. Dapat wala yan. Okay. So C, oh wait, may kulang pa ako dito. Round, run if, ano yung kulang ko dito? Employee ID round. One, two, okay. Kulang na isa pang ano parenthesis, sorry. Tama ba? Oo, tama. Kasi one, itong run if dito i-close natin. Tapos, wait ha. May mali ba ako dito? Data frame, una si employee ID is equal to round. Saan ako nagkamali dito? Si Flora, comma, C. Okay, tama. Okay, sige, isa-isa lang natin ha. Employee data. Okay. Papaprint natin kaya open and close parentheses. Okay, so ito taken care of nito. Okay, so employee data frame, open parentheses. Okay, so employee data, employee ID is equal to round, open parentheses round, run if, open and close, comma, ilang decimal places, 0. Okay, so, all right. So employee ID, so okay na to. Yan, comma natin. All right, yun ang mali ko. Dapat comma to. Okay, check round 1, 2, open parentheses, 1, 2, close parentheses. Comma, next, we generate employee name. This vector of employee names contains, this is a character vector containing this 10 elements. So yung ID, 10, no? 10. Yung names, 10 din also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 names. Okay, by the way, class, yung syntax ng round, so anong number, and then 0 decimal places. Okay. If you want 2 decimal places, you put 2 here, etc. All right. Sa salary, you have a different code. Binago kasi namin to sa kabilang section kanina. So we want our salary. Let's use run if then, no? So we have also 10 observations. The salary should be between 20,000 and 50,000. Tapos i-round natin to, round. Okay. We make it 2 decimal places. Okay, so let's close the round, right? And then put a comma here for the start date. Okay. And then let's create this object called start date, which is also a vector. Pero itong vector na to, date object to, no? Date type. So as that date, and then we're combining all of this quote-unquote characters, but they will be converted into dates. So 2012, 0101, etc. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 also. And then lastly, you have here strings as factors is equal to false. So there might be variables here that are characters which should not be written as considered as factors. So we call it strings as factors. Okay, and then false. Because if it was a factor, dapat ang linagay natin dito as that factor. Sinabi natin as that factor. Okay, let me pause for a while. Okay, and are there any questions about this? Take a look at our code first. Try to see if you have any questions about that. Try to understand the code first. What's happening? So we're creating a data frame there. Okay, clear so far, class? Okay, so kung wala, then let's run this. Okay, thank you. Thank you for feedback. Let's run this. Let's run the whole code chunk. Okay, so here you have, okay, this is our data frame. Diba? So you can see our data frame has row names. Yan. And let's take a look at it here first. So this is now DF, 3 observations, 3 variables. So let's view this. Okay, so this one, ito yung index yung row names, ba? 1, 2, 3. Ito yung column names, N, S, B. Ito yung mga elements niya. 3 each. So kompleto. No? Okay, if we check what type of object this is, let me close this. And then, saan na tayo? So let's see. Let's run here class df. Class df. Ay, sorry. Df. Under. Mali. Emp data pala. Apologies. Kanina pa pala yun. Emp. Yun. If I type emp, R will guess ano yung susunod na object. No? So we have here empty date, emp data, tab. Okay na siya. And then we got the class. And true enough, it's a data frame. Okay, it's a data frame. All right, so let's take a look at, let's check structure at saka summary. Tingnan natin. Okay. So structure, ang sabi sa atin, it's a data frame. No? Here you can see. Structure will tell us what type of object that is. Asan yan? Okay. Here, no? Data frame. And then we have 10 observations for variables. And then here, you recall, pag data frame, maglalagay siya ng dollar dito, tapos ibibigay yung variables. So those 4 variables. And then, we have the summary, which will give us the summary statistics. So if I go down here, ayaw, kaya clear ko na muna to. Okay, so we learned about the dollar sign, di ba? So this is from your EMP dataset. What's the name of that? Okay, emp.data here. Emp.data. So you have emp.data dollar, emp ID, emp employee name, emp.data employee name, etc. No? So we have here 4 variables. ID is numeric. and then employee name is character, salary is numeric, and then the start date is date. And for the summary, so lahat ng mga numerical, mag-automatic siya na it will automatically compute for the 6 number summaries. No? Okay, here we have employee ID, although this does not mean anything kasi ID lang siya. No? Employee name is, okay. What's the difference as far as the summary is concerned? Kung ginawa nating, okay, kung ginawa nating as that character or as that factor, what will be the difference? Anyone, please? Anong kakaibahan? Anong kaibahan? What will be the difference if we created an object in our data frame and one is a factor and the other one is character, and then we got the summary? Anyone, please? Would you know what will be the difference? Kunyari kung may factor dito, anong kakalabasan dito sa summary? As compared to just a character variable. Okay, let me see a chat here. Okay, for characters, there's no 5-number summary. Yes, Angel, that's correct. Pero for factors, ibig sabihin, for factors, merong 5-number summary. Ang question natin, anong difference ng isang character sa isang character na factor? Kasi technically, ang factors, character din sila, no? Pero we're putting a subclassification to that. Magiging factor na siya, which is used for, sa ginagamit ka ng factor, why do you need to convert a variable if it's character into a factor? Anyone, please? So what's the rationale? Bakit hindi na lang character yan? Ba't pa natin if a factor? Okay. So, yeah. Categorize the data. Thank you, Angel. It categorizes the data. And then, so if it categorizes the data, what will appear in the summary function? Ito, mga summary function. Wala kasi tayong factor dito, no? Character lang. But had we introduced a factor here, how will the summary output look like? Will it be the same as this one, employee name? What do you call that? Okay, so thank you, Angel. That's correct. There will be a frequency distribution. Magkakaroon siya ng count ng ilan yung, kunyari, good, very good, outstanding, example lang. So you have those categories, and that variable consists of those good, very good, and outstanding. So we know that it's a character, categorical, and factor. So we can convert that into a factor, and what will appear in your summary function is a frequency distribution nung tatlong yun. Ilan yung outstanding, ilan yung very good, ilan yung good. Okay? Pause muna ako. Is that clear, class? Clear ba yung distinction natin ng character at saka factor? Okay. How about the rest? Okay, good. Thank you so much, class. Huwag kayong magsasawa mag-respond, ha? Kasi para sa akin, importante yung ano nyo, importante understanding natin dito. Hindi tayo nagmamarathon. No? This is more of a, hindi tayo pala nagsisprint. This is more of a marathon. Okay, ibig sabihin, we're here for the long term hanggang August, hanggang April tayo dito. Okay, good. All right. So I hope clear na understanding, no? Pero wala tayong ano dito. Wala tayong, okay, thank you. Okay. So let's now, sa data natin, di ba lalabas na tong ano, lalabas na si employee.data, 10 observations and 4 variables. Okay, so every time you list, generate an object in R, whether it's a vector, sa vector lalabas yan sa values, or can be either a list or a data frame. Yan sa lalabas sa data. Okay. All right. This one, okay, let's have another example. Do you have this? Did I give this to you sa file nyo? Did I? Pa-chat naman please kung yes, kung meron kayo nito. Okay, no. All right, sige. Copy ko to Copy ko to. Okay, hanggang dito. Control C. So medyo mahaba to. No? All right. Oops. Ito lang pala na copy ko. Si set.c lang. Actually, I didn't want to give this to you, itong codes na to, kasi gusto kong kayo mismo sumulat. No? Kasi iba yung kayo susulat eh. There's a value to that. Okay. All right. So I think ito, no? Okay, let's create this first. Again, let's set a seed. Kasi meron tayong R norm dito, no? We have an R norm here. Okay, so set that seed 1111, and then here we're generating an object called ID. So this is integral from 1 to 200, integer siya. And then we're creating another group, another object called group. Excuse me. And it's combining, okay, R norm. Huh? R norm 100, sample of 100, mean 25, standard deviation is 5. And another R norm 100, mean 23, standard deviation is equal to 5. Okay. So, and then isa-set that seed natin para pare-pareho tayo. Okay, so let's run this first. Sabay-sabay na natin. And then this one, so let's create this object called my data, which is a data frame, okay, consisting of yung ID, which is this one. Let's give it a name. Patient is equal to ID. So therefore, the column name will be patient. Dito naman, yung group object natin, bibigyan natin ng pangalan na treatment. And then sa dulo, yung response natin, gagawin natin capital R response. Okay, so we're creating three objects consisting of three vectors consisting of the ID, the group, and then response. Tapos, i-combine natin siya into a data frame. So magiging rectangular data set na siya, no? It will now be a data frame. And then, tatlo yung laman niya. So, the ID here will have a column name of patient. The group here will have a column name of treatment. And the response here would have a column name of response. Actually, class, pwede naman dito patient na kagad, no? Okay, so this is not a good way to do it. Kasi, i-ID mo siya, tapos papalitan mo pa yung pangalan, di ba? So why not directly name this patient, this one as treatment, and the other one as capital response. So gagawin mo lang naman pala siya. Eh? Okay, so this is just merely to illustrate. Pero pwede na siya ng direct, no? Okay, so let's run this. Okay, and then it will print. Ayan. So it will only show the first 10 rows out of 200 rows. How do we know it's 200? Yes, kasi 1 to 200, no? Tapos dito, okay, experiment natin class. Okay, by the way, this means repeat to. So isusulit niya si vehicle 100 times. The rep function means repeat. Repeat what? Vehicle. How many times? 100. So 100, 100. That's 200. What if we make this 90? Okay, so take note, ano siya, no? Data frame siya. Diba? Pero yung isa 90 lang. Yung isa 100. So let's see what happens. So let's run this. Okay, nag-error siya, di ba? Error siya kasi yung isang variable natin, yung group only consists of 190 elements. Hindi pa pwede yun. Kasi pag data frame, di ba? Each of the columns should have the same number of observations. I'm not talking about missing values or NA values. We'll discuss that in the future. Okay, ito talagang 190 lang. Okay. Sige, so let me change this to 100. Okay, and then generate this object, my data again. Okay, and then we have here my data. Ito, no? And then click ko to para makita natin. All right, so we have 200 observations. And we have 3 columns, 3 variables. You have patient, treatment, and response. Tingnan nyo, no? Kita nyo yung pangalan na binigay dun sa data frame. Ito na yun. Patient, treatment, and then capital R response. This is 1 to 17. Okay, 1 to 17 entries. Okay, out of 200 entries, then 3 columns, patient, treatment, and response. Okay, so let's going back. Okay, let me just delete some of the objects here. Ang haba na. All right. So here, okay, let me close this. Let's now get to work on our data set, my data. Of course, you know, all right, here, we can erase this already. Remind data will be different because of random seed. Okay, kasi nag-set that seed tayo, no? Kung hindi natin linagay ito, you know, class, that we will have different answers here. Okay? So dito, this becomes irrelevant kasi nag-set that seed naman tayo. So tanggalin na lang natin. Okay, we know that the head will give us the first 6 rows. And it should be the same for all of us kasi nag-set that seed tayo. No? Ang mababago lang naman actually kung tutuusin yung response kasi R norm to eh. Pero yung patient index to 1 to 200 at saka yung treatment, pare-pareho lang yan. All right, and also the tail. Okay, for the tail, okay, ito yung last. Nagkasya dito to 10, tapos meron pang 2 more rows. Okay, ito no, ayan. Last to 199 to 200. Okay, so we looked at the head, we looked at the tail. Now for the length, pag length ng data frame, it will be the number of columns, the number of variables. So 3. Pero ang dimension niya, ito next one, pag dimension, it's the number of rows and columns. So that's 200 by 3. Okay, so please take note of that, no? Sa length, binibigay sa atin, ang length naman ng vector, iba. Ang length ng vector is the number of observations. Like this. Saan ba yung, just to recall, di ba ito si B, no? O ito si group. May object tayong group dito. It's a vector. Andito siya sa values, no? Okay, let's get the length of group. And it's 200, but the dimension of group, meron bang dimension si group? Okay, null. No? Null kasi ano siya? Values lang siya, vector lang siya. Ang pwede may dimension lang, okay. Dimension ng, okay, my list. My list, which is a list. Okay? Okay. Kahit na si class, kahit na si list, wala rin siyang dimension. Si dimension, it's only true for a data frame. So if it's a vector, it will return a null if you're getting the dimension of the vector or if you're getting the dimension of a list. Ang may dimension lang si, okay, dimension ni my data. And we run 200 by 3. So see, Si ano lang ang may dimension. No? Okay, so let's move here. All right, and then we run this already, yung structure at saka my data. No? Okay, we now go to subsetting. When you subset, you'd like to generate a report, or you can create an object out of it. Okay, if you assign an object here, x1, okay, and this will generate an object called x1. Let's see, no? X1, and then my data. The first number here refers to row, and the second number here refers to column. And then the brackets here means subsetting. So we're subsetting my data, okay? We're getting the first row and the second column. If you take a look at my data, ito yung first row natin. Ang second column natin will come from treatment. Therefore, the subset of that is vehicle. Okay? In fact, if we run this, okay, run natin to, no? Run si X1, there. Si X1. Saan napunta si X1? X1 is, anong object si X1? Anong structure? Okay, si X1 is just a vector, di ba? Kasi intersection siya nung row and column. No? So, sige nga, tingnan natin. Length, dimension. O, class na lang. Class of one. Okay, so it's a vector. It's a character vector. So when you subset a data frame, you get a vector. Okay, let's do some other subsetting. Now, by the way, you can actually, instead of this, let's create another object called x2 dito, and we do the function subset. Okay, so sige, tingnan muna natin class yung function na question mark subset, because it's the same as just putting here the brackets. No? Okay, so this is from the base package. And anong sabi nito? Subset. Okay, subset x. X is the object to be subsetted. And then ano yung mga parameters? We have several parameters here. Let's see if we have an example here. Okay, so we have here, okay, sige, run natin to, no? Subset, air quality is a data set found in R. Okay, it's preloaded. So let's just make sure, ba? Sabi natin dito, view air quality. You can see that you can access it, no? Kahit hindi pa natin naloload to, di ba? And this one, kita nyo, ano siya, data set siya. No? It's a data set. So, yan, air quality. Then, dito siya. No? And then, okay, hindi, binulang natin siya, pero hindi naman siya dito nakaload. But if we get that data, air quality, okay, binulang natin siya, but we did not actually load it. But if we load it here, okay, data, air quality, let's see. All right, lumabas siya dito. No? Naka-promise pa lang siya. Okay, but if I type here another, kunyari ito, arrow up, yan, view. Okay, so i-view natin ulit siya. View. Okay, lumipat na siya dito, ano? Lumipat na siya sa data. So view na natin. Okay, so air quality consists of this ozone, solar, wind. So these are all, okay, looks like these are all numerical vectors set for the month. Pwedeng gawing, tingnan natin yung, yung structure niya. Structure, str, air quality. No? So let's see this one, data frame siya, 153 observation, 6 variables. Ozone is integer, solar.r is integer, wind is numeric. Okay. temp is integer. Siguro si month dapat ano to, no? Dapat can be considered as pwede siyang as factor. No? Kasi month 5, 6, 7, 8, okay. We can convert it into a factor. Kasi month is a classifier, no? Kung anong month, right? Okay, anyway, so having this, we're just following the examples here. Medyo naging ano, no, naging okay. Yung subset function control C, and then here control V. So we were just illustrating that you can use okay, the subset function, or you can use the bracket. Okay, here subset, yung data natin, air quality. And then define natin, temperature is greater than 80. And then here we select it's equal to zone and temperature. Okay, if you take a look at this, okay, temperature daw, dapat greater than 80. Okay, so we're subsetting. So hindi lalabas si 67, hindi lalabas yung mga temperature na less than 80. And then ang isa-select lang, select ozone at saka temperature. So what will appear? What will appear in our subset? Okay, so let's give this a name. Lagyan natin S1. No? S1 is a subset of air quality. So select ozone at saka temperature, and dapat ang pipiliin lang niya lahat ng temperature na 80. Okay? Then select, ito yung lalabas na variables. So ang lalabas lang na variables, ozone at saka temperature. Dalawa lang, no? Ozone at saka temperature. So let's run this. Run natin itong S1. Okay. All right. So dito, sinubset natin si air quality. Okay. Ano siya, 'di ba? Yung sinubset natin yung data frame. Okay? Pero here, define natin dapat may variable na ozone at saka temperature. So this will be a data frame pa rin kasi define natin na meron dapat kasama dapat yung variable na ozone at saka temperature. Okay? So if we take a look at yan, tingnan nyo, andito siya sa data, di ba? It's here in data. Yan si S1. That's why it signifies that this is a vector, ano pa rin to, data frame. Check natin, structure S1. Okay, so it's a data frame. 68 observations of 2 variables. In fact, we can view this, view S1. Okay, so here you go, view S1. All right, so the ozone, and then take note, no? Ozone, may mga NA siya. May mga missing value siya. Pero yung temperature natin, lahat siya more than 80. Okay, we will deal with NA in the future. Okay, so I illustrated to you making use of the subset. Actually, mas madaling gamitin yung subset, no? Unlike this one. So let's go back to our example here. Ito, yung ano natin, yung itong brackets, no? All right, here, let's create this my data from my data vector, my data frame ulit. Second row, third column. Okay, so asa na si my data? Second row, ito, third column, this one. So I expect an answer to be 31.61 lang, no? Yun lang. And thus, this will generate a vector. Ayan, 31.61 lang, no? Hindi siya nag-appear dito sa environment natin kasi hindi natin binigyan ng name yung itong na to. We just ask R to generate the result. What if it's this one naman? My data, and then you have first 20 rows, and then second and third column. If you take a look at our object, so it will only include first 20 rows. So hanggang dito lang. And then second and third, it will include treatment and response ito. Second and third. So lahat vehicle, tapos from 24.56 hanggang 23.71. Okay, so that's a subset, no? This. Okay, so let's see. Let's run this. Okay, why don't you give this a name? Let's call it X. X3 na lang. X3. So control enter. All right. So si X3 ano siya? Okay, 20 observations, two variables. So dalawang ano kasi siya, no? Dalawang variable siya. Okay, so if we get the structure of X3, okay, here, I'm getting the structure of X3, control enter. So it's a data frame. Okay? Kasi dalawang variables yung sinama natin, 2 and 3. And if we print ito dito, so column 2 is treatment, column 3 is response, and we have here panay vehicle yan kasi first 18 values, no? Okay. All right, I think it's about time for me to pause and ask you. So far, are there any questions? Please don't hesitate to ask questions. We would like you to to ask questions if you have any. Okay, thank you. The rest, let me seek your response, please. Okay, let's see. None so far. Good. None. Okay. Okay. All right. So this one, my data, 1 to 20. So ito, lahat ng rows 1 to 20. How about the columns? In the absence of any qualifier, pag blanco yan, ibig sabihin lahat ng columns isasama niya. So let's run this. So you now have here, hindi kasi natin binigyan ng pangalan, ano? So saan na napunta siya? Okay, did it record here? Saan siya class? Print ba siya? Okay, print siya, no? Kaso sa ilalim. Okay, asan na yan? Where's that? Ito. Ito. Okay, here. Okay, 1 to 20. Okay, here 1 to 10 out of 20 rows. And all the columns. Kasi blanco yung column eh. Diba? Here. Blanco siya. So it will print all the columns. Mga columns natin, patient, treatment, and response. Yung tatlong yan. Next. Yan. Next 20. Previous 20. Now, it did create an object kasi hindi naman natin binigyan ng pangalan. So pina-perform lang natin itong result na to. Had we created a name here, given this a name, then dapat lalabas dito yan, di ba? Lalabas dito yan. And it will fall under, saan siya papasok? Sa values or sa data? Kindly chat, please. Itong code na to, yung my data 1 to 20, and then had we given this a name, will fall under data or values? Okay, yes, correct. Thank you, Kim. Yeah, it's data, no? It's data. Okay, if I created the name, it's data because this is a vector, di ba? Kitang-kita naman na vector, sorry, it's a data frame. Ito, di ba data frame yan, no? Here are your columns and your rows are 20 all in all. Okay, all right, so I hope that's clear. Okay, let's move on. Sa ano pa rin tayo, sa subsetting. Let's just try to finish this, which malamang hindi kasi hindi rin namin natapos to. No? All right, how about this? Itong tatlong to, my subset, nothing in the rows, which means lahat siya, no? All the element there. Okay, let's give this a name para, let's call this Y1, and this we call Y2, and this we call Y3. Okay, let's compare the output for Y1, Y2, Y3. So dito, class Y1 is my data, and then it's a subset natin, all the rows, and then only the third column. Okay, only the third column, no? Let's see, Control Enter. So si Y1, asan na si Y1? Where's Y1? Oops. So pumasok si Y1. All right, Y1. So pumasok siya sa values. Why? Kasi isang ano lang, no? Isang ano lang siya, isang column. So pag nag-subset tapos isang column lang, okay, then nagiging ano siya, no? Vector. So where are we? Okay, ito 'di ba? Okay, so how about this one? Y2, my data, tama. And then this one, ito, response. So galing sa my data, i-subset natin yung response. Will R be able to recognize this quote-unquote response natin? Kasi ang response natin itong third, no? So could you kindly run this? Will R recognize this response variable? Paki-check nga please, and please chat yes or no kung na-recognize yan. Kung Y2 was generated. So let's wait for the others. Okay, only 3 students have responded. 4. Let's make it mga 15, please. Okay. Sige, konti pa. More responses, please. Okay, good. Good. Thank you so much. Tingnan natin version. Okay, yes. All right, yes. So dito, my data, and then ang linagay lang natin yung ano, yung column na yung response. And let's see the result. Okay, so saan siya pumasok? Y2 is also numeric vector, no? Numeric vector siya. Pumasok siya sa values as a vector. Okay, ito naman, Y3, my data dollar response. Ito alam natin to, no? So the dollar there indicates that response is a variable under my data. And if we run this, Y3, vector pa rin siya. So it's not a data frame where you have the column, may pangalan yung column, response. Okay, tapos isang column lang siya. Sagot nga class, may question ako. Is it possible for a data frame to be just one column? Class, pwede ba yun? Pwede ba na isang column lang, yung isang room? Okay, thank you, Angel. Unsure po, okay, but thank you for your answer. How about the others? Yes. Okay, the answer is correct. Yes, it's yes. You can have a vector that's only one column. Okay, let's try to experiment, no? Let's try to experiment. How about this one? Sabi natin dito, column 3, all the rows, but this one, y1, diba? Pwedeng ask that, okay, remember here, and then ask that data frame. We can directly use data.frame. Okay, data.frame. Okay, sige nga, let's see class kung pwede ito. Sige, try to do that and tell me if this creates, tingnan natin dito, structure ni y1 para dire-diretso na. So will that run? Si my data, sinasubset natin yung lahat ng rows pero yung third column lang, and then converted into data.frame, and then tinignan natin yung structure ng y1. So will that generate a data frame class? Okay, so let's, I haven't seen your response, but I'll wait for the others. Iisa pa lang yung nagre-respond class. So ang ginawa natin dito, okay, we impose this data.frame. Di ba parang sa taas kanina, no? And then, ano yung ipapadata natin? Si my data, isa subset natin yung third column lang, no? Tapos lahat ng rows. And then tinanong natin yung structure. So only one answered. I'm waiting for the others to answer, please. A few more answers, please. Okay, thank you. Sige. Okay. Good. Salamat, no? Yes. All right. Diba? O kasi, pag pag nag-subset tayo, tapos iisa lang yung column na lalabas, automatic automatic na vector, no? Pero pag in-impose natin, dapat data frame yan. Let's see. O, di ba? Dito na si Y1. Okay, click natin. Yun nga lang, di ba? Iba yung niya, iba yung row name. Hindi niya kinuha yung row name ni response. So, paano gagawing yan? Paano gagawing column response? Paano yun, class? Okay, sige. Medyo, I leave that to you guys, no? It has something to do with, bigyan ko lang kayo ng clues, no? Okay, ito, call, ito ayan. Call names, no? This one. Oops, call names. Ito. So it has something to do with giving column names. Sige, experiment nyo na. Tingnan nyo kung paano nyo ipapasok dito yung column names so that the column name will not be, hindi ito, no? Hindi niya pinakita, no? Okay, let's see. So structure ni Y1, diba? Pinakita na natin. It's a data frame. Tapos ito yung pangalan ng variable, no? Diba? Dot, tapos 3. Diba? Kung isa-summary natin yan, summary Y1, okay, diba? Ito yung pangalan ng variable. Okay, but we want to change that to response. So clue, you're going to use call names kanina, yung column name. Okay? But I leave that to you to find out, no? Dali lang naman yan. All right. Then, so, di ba sabi natin pare-pareho lang to, no? Si Y1, Y2, Y3, these are similar subsets. All of them are vectors. Kasi isang column lang yung na-generate ng subset natin. So, for your assignment, okay, gamitin nyo yung subset dito. Hindi ko naman i-collect, no? tingnan nyo lang kung paano natin isa-subset itong instead of brackets, instead of using the my data and then brackets, gamitin yung subset. Kasi remember, yung subset, di ba, ang unang ano dyan, my data. Ayan. Okay? Subset and then my data. And then, ano yung mga susunod? Okay. Now, let's go here. My data, and then take a look at this. My data response is greater than 26. So, sinasubset natin, lahat ng response daw na greater than 26. So, let's run this. Okay, makikita natin dito na greater than 26. Okay. Now, take a look at this. Response is greater than 26. Okay, so ang sinasubset natin, class, si my data, tapos my data dollar response, which is your response variable. Response variable, it's almost time na, no? So let me just stop here. Let me just finish this class, no? Response is, sabi natin, greater than 26. So lahat to, ilang observations siya? All in all, ilang observations? 90 rows, 90 observations. So if you check this, all of this will have more than 90 na, more than 90 observations na yung response is greater than 26. Now, what will happen if we do this? Kasi di ba, may data na tayo dito, di ba? So bakit kailangan pang ilagay dito yung my data tapos dollar response? Di ba understood na my data na yun? If I, on the other hand, put, parang yung dito, no? Yung coach response, tingnan natin kung ano mangyayari. So it did generate the same output? Pareho lang, di ba? Ito. So does it mean that this is redundant? Kasi may data ka na, tapos may data pa ulit dito. Diba? Dito, may data, tapos ang dinefine lang natin yung coach na response. Okay. So for next meeting, tingnan natin to, no? Yung and at saka or. Okay, so we're subsetting na dalawa yung conditions natin. Either, yung and, dapat both conditions have to be met, and yung or naman will be ito, no? It's a pipe, which means pipe, ibig sabihin or, any of those conditions can be met, isasama siya dun sa subsetting natin. Okay, so for next meeting on Wednesday, no? On Wednesday, we will cover everything already kasi kailangan natin matapos yung dates, tapos yung matrix, okay? Matrix, konti lang naman yan. And then exercises na, no? All right. And if you can't come on Wednesday ng 11 o'clock, so that will cover our session for Thursday. Then anyway, I'll be recording. Pakipanood nyo ha para come Monday, we'll hit the ground running. Sa Monday, may mga activities pa rin dun sa Charles Darwin University. I'm not yet sure, class, kung makakapag face-to-face tayo. There's a big chance na online pa rin tayo, no? If ever mag-online tayo, 2:30 pa rin yan. Okay? All right, so let me stop recording.